game so far. He is Complexities STC. I definitely didn't just draw that. Okay. I don't know if other people's drawings show up on my observer interface, but TvT on Belshir Vestige should be an interesting match. STC, of course, has shown us some great games so far. QXC, though, he is actually a player I have not really seen too much from recently. He is a guy that likes to go for the... Someone is drawing. Someone is having too much fun right now. And this is an unnecessary amount of fun. But he is a guy that kind of liked to go for multitasking style builds. He was not afraid to look for innovative ways to mech. He was actually meching in the beginning of Heart of the Swarm against Protoss. So he's definitely one of the more creative guys that you are going to see. Kind of known for being a very, very smart player. Going for a 15 gas here. So he's going to be playing a little bit more on the economic side of things. In the meantime, we do have STC now beginning to mount his gas as well. So neither of these players look like they're going to be heading into really fast attack, or at least Reapers. He doesn't have enough gas. He's going to make a Marine first. Yeah, that's what I thought. So probably going to be a factory opening from STC. Possibly some sort of Reactor Hellion expand into Hellbats. Possibly just a Reactor Hellbat attack or something like that. Really, there's a lot of options on the plate as to where somebody can go. So now STC is just kind of moving things on up. He is going to be moving his SCV out, possibly to go on maybe throw a little proxy player, just scout. So his SCV, I love little SCV action. I feel like I keep saying SCV. But factory now on the way for the STC. Reactors coming in for QXC. He should be throwing on a command center and a factory pretty soon. They usually use command center, factory, bunker. STC being a little bit aggressive here with his first 2 Marines. He is putting on a tiny bit of pressure. He's actually going to make a 3rd Marine. So it looks like behind this he could try to go for some sort of fast Widowmine drop play. He hasn't really done anything crazy just yet, and continuously producing Marines with no add-on might actually mean as a Banshee opening as well. It's either going to be Banshee or Widowmine drop. So STC is really being aggressive though with these Marines moving forward and forward, and QXC is actually going to keep himself inside because of that. And here we have the arrow of light shining upon us. Factory on the way though for QXC, and yeah, someone's like, yes, please stop using the drawing. Nobody wants to see it. And STC, well, he's coming up with a couple Marines in this SCV. He wants to put on a tiny bit of pressure. QXC has enough Marines here with this coming out now that he is going to be able to hold on. No big deal at all. So he's looking just fine. And producing Hellions, actually, which is also really interesting. So this is just weird. Just a really late reactor from the STC. Perhaps he was scared of Reapers coming out of QXC. So the factory is done, though. He is going to move it on towards this reactor. He has a starport coming in, and the Hellions should be able to deny this SCV any further information. But I believe QXC actually did see that starport. So no, he did not. Nice. He knows how to hide on key panels. Right. And Hellions, these Marines moving around. STC has been like trying to keep an aggressive posture on the map, but now QXC, he's looking fine anyway. This game's pretty even, to say the least, between the two of them. No real trades have been made yet, except though the scouting SCV is being killed now. Scan goes out from QXC, sees pretty much everything that is coming along here. Says, okay, we've got Hellions, so I could have to worry about something like mech. Neither of these players have actually made a commitment to either bio or mech yet. No tech labs on the barracks, no armories, or I mean, even an armory, Hellbat drops can sometimes lead into bio as well. So it's a very interesting kind of situation to put yourself in. So we're gonna have to see just how these guys want to take these games. And since they're both taking their second gas geysers, I can only assume that they want to go for a little bit more of a techie style of play. This factory is being moved over. Is he going to put on the reactor and get more Marines out? I'm not so sure. Is it just going to be for scouting? QXC is getting a little bit active on the map. He's moving out with a lot of Hellions, possibly looking to go and do some damage on this natural expansion, which, of course, could end up panning out pretty well for him if he can get some good line-ups on the opposing Hellions, but now he's going to be moving out. Ooh, Hellion versus Hellion action here. STC has about 7 Hellions with this force, and QXC only has 6, so it's not a fight he wants to take. But now there's a drop, a big Marine drop actually hitting the natural expansion. STC is going to pick off 2 SCVs, 3 of QXC, so nice little bit of damage there. He's going to boost on up and go towards the main base. At the same time, drop for QXC is actually going to get shut down pretty well. Neither of these players able to really get a big foothold yet in this game. 5 workers killed by QXC, 4 workers killed by the STC.
Ready for pickup?
Both of them being really forward pressure with the Hellions and then dropping with the Marines. But the Vikings actually going to be doing a lot of damage to this medevac. The Marines, though, are going to be dropped out to try to deal with that. And SCC is staying very active. He's saying, okay, yeah, I denied your Vikings from killing me. I'm going to get ready to drop you again. I'm going to stay right here until I can find an opening. And STC's Hellions are running around, trying to find an opening. He's going to dive into the natural expansion. A really ballsy play here, possibly risking it all. But is he going to win big is the question, and I'm not so sure. The Hellions for QXC are going to line up, though, trying to come stop this. And STC is going to do a good amount of damage to QXC's forces, but he will lose all of his Hellions at the same time. The drop is going to hit the main base, starting to get to work on these SCVs again. And there is a good amount of pressure going on here from STC. He is everywhere right now. Trying to bring the forces up is QXC to deal with that, but he needs to get his Hellions up here as well to help with that. So far, we currently have 10 SCVs now killed by the STC, so he's trying to get himself a little bit of an edge here. He is ahead by about 4 workers at this very moment. And a 3rd command center as well. So,
by the number.
pretty standard setup here for both of these guys. And STC is definitely going to be heading into a bio play. QXC is going bio as well, so we're going to have Marine Tank versus Marine Tank pretty much throughout this game. STC being pretty active with his Vikings as well. He's trying to see if there's anything here, any Vikings poised to defend for QXC, but QXC actually has a drop already going across the field. His stim pack is so far ahead of STC, it's not even funny. These Hellions are also pretty active on the map as well. Stim pack hasn't even started for the STC. Keep that in mind, guys. He's going to be relying purely on tank self-defend, and this drop that hits the natural could be big with these Hellions. There is a tank. It's going to put a bit of its load out on these Hellions, but QXC scans, he sees, and he's like, okay, well, I mean, that tank's going to be able to cover the mineral line. If I drop on the tank, there's the bunker, and there's 2 tanks, so not a great option, but oh, he's going to try to go to the main, and that gets picked off. A big catch here for STC. The drop in the main might have been able to do a bit more damage, but even without stim or combat shield, STC is looking so sharp just because he's playing defensively. Neither of these players can really be aggressive. And honestly, the best way for QXC to take advantage of the fact that there's no stim for STC is to get a fast 3rd. But the 3rd command center is already done for STC. QXC doesn't even have it going into an orbital command yet. 1-1 is on the way for our complexity. I guess I can't say complexity Terrans since they're both complexity Terrans. But QXC is going to start as 1-1 as well. He's going to be pretty close in the upgrades. He needs to start that +1 armor as soon as he can. I love how active the Vikings are for the STC right now, just looking for any opportunity to drop in here. And QXC tries to drop, but you know, he has absolutely no avenue to take advantage of the fact that he has stim and that his opponent does not have stim. So stim is still about 100 seconds away, more than that, for the STC, but he's playing so defensively that it doesn't even matter. And now he's actually possibly going to get in here and kill this medevac off. Does get a free medevac kill. That is absolutely fantastic for the STC. QXC a little bit on his back foot, and the 3rd command center is going to go down for STC. He doesn't even have stim. He could not win an engagement of Marine versus Marine right now because of that stim pack upgrade. But QXC has actually lost a lot going for this harass. The Hellions are going to run by towards the 3rd, but no SCV is going to be transferring anymore. So he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to run those in. That's a bad idea. And STC actually has a good number of tanks. He has a very solid army. Another medevac goes down for QXC. And STC is just looking so solid. Solid is the best way to put it. The Hellions trying to grab these SCVs. Gets a good couple kills, actually. QXC's killed 18 workers so far, so not bad. He just got a really big score there. Total worker count is going to be favoring QXC now by about 13. But the question is, can he hold off his timing from STC? STC got such a late stim, and he's still going to be doing his stim timing. And now the tanks are perching below the main base for STC. QXC needs to hold this attack off. His tanks are taking some heat, but he is going to be able to stave that off for now. Some of these tanks, though, are in a really good position here to take out these Marines. The Vikings do go down, so the high ground vision is gone. QXC can jump on the high ground and pick these off. Of course, QXC known as being the intelligent player. He's the Otacon of StarCraft.
Life
This was
flight.
Metal Gear Solid. But STC does look like he is going to be baited back, or at least held off for now. Drop hitting the main base, though, double medevac. And QXC's Vikings are trying to deal with this. His Marines are sending forward and trying to run up here, but he might be able to equalize the tank count. And STC, he may not have done any economic damage there, but he took out all the tanks. He basically traded all but one of his tanks for all of the tanks of QXC, except, of course, one. So, really, really nice play there. And immediately, QXC's going to load up and try to go for a drop towards this third base. There's not much here to defend, and SEC is rallying his units forward. But QXC's just getting this third mining now. He has not transferred SCVs just yet. They're on their way there. Just now taking that gas. 2-2 is on the way for the STC. QXC, he's just getting his armory. He's going to fall really far behind in upgrades if he does not pick up the pace of that a little bit faster. And let's just look at some other numbers. Total supplies favoring STC by about 20. We have 62 SCVs, 60 SCVs, so very equal on that. Tank count looks so solidly even. Medevac count very close. Marine count is going to start to tilt in favor of STC as this game progresses forward because QXC's supply blocked. So he actually can't make any Marines right now. Just his current wave. He needs to get some more depots up there. But STC is he just seems to be playing a much sharper game right now. But as QXC is running in towards that third base, he's going to start to get to work on these SCVs. STC tries to pull them to fight, but man, these guys have PhDs in engineering, not Mortal Kombat. So the STC is going to run up here. He's going to immediately snipe the medevac off, and the Marines for QXC will die. Sensor tower is going up for both players, which is a pretty smart decision. But QXC just now starting his 2-2. He is about a whole minute behind the STC, and this is something that can hurt him as the game continues to progress forward. STC taking the left side. I love this. He just has these Marines perched everywhere. He wants to know for a fact when QXC tries to expand, where he tries to go, because he wants to abuse his tiny bit of a lead as much as possible. And if he hits exactly when 2-2 finishes, he's going to have such a huge window to just cripple QXC. QXC has Marines at the tower, but he has a couple of Marines running out. He does see this army. And now this becomes a really, really scary position because if this army gets into a good spot with his 2-2 about to finish up, that 1-1 lead is enough to win a game. Like, if you are up 2-2 versus 1-1, even for a minute, that can be more than enough to win. And now he is getting into a nice little crotch spot here under QXC's natural expansion. He is going to be forced back for now, though. QXC has gone for more Vikings, which is nice because STC lost his earlier, and this is going to allow him to shove those medevacs back, denying the tank's vision. This is going to give QXC that little bit of extra range, which can allow him to use his tanks to hold off the tanks of his opponent. At the same time, he's seeing another drop forward, which is definitely a smart idea. The sensor tower is going to be complete soon for the STC to be able to spot this drop coming, but is he going to have units there in time is a more important question. The tanks are looking pretty solidly placed for both players. QXC is on his back foot right now. He is on the defensive. He's a little bit behind in supply. He needs to wait for his 2-2 to finish before he can do anything. Trying to snipe off a medevac there. Does get a clip off on these Marines. One load dumped on them, as it were. Slowly inching these tanks forward. And he just needs to make sure he doesn't get completely bowled over in one spot. The drop has landed. It's heading over there, but STC is already moving reinforcements over. If QXC can kill the sensor tower, that would be enough, of course. Sensor tower is actually really expensive, but he is going to continue to press, and he does need to make sure he doesn't get hit by this tank. Puts a couple of the Marines. The SCVs are going to go down quite in droves, actually, here. So a good amount of workers being killed off by QXC. He's killed 35 SCVs this game, and hindering the economy, his opponent could be the way to win this game. He is just going to go for it, though. The tanks are sieging up for STC. Is QXC going to be able to get a good enough arc? He is spreading those Marines spectacularly. He is trying to find a way to do as much damage as he can, and QXC killing all the tanks of his opponent. Now, with a very strong tank backbone available for QXC and still very solid Marine production, this could be exactly what he needs to find a way to pull himself back in this game. QXC finally taking the supply lead for the first time in this match. Such a risky spot. QXC scanning. He says, okay, I see where you're going. All I need to do is defend my third base. Maybe move a couple tanks back. QXC needs to make sure he doesn't get caught out of position. There's still a lot of Marines in the field for the STC. While they both now have the 2-2 upgrades, this is still not an easy spot to be in. QXC, he's got the 4th command center done, though. The STC has just started his. QXC can't move out just yet in case there's a base trade, but I love the double medevac drop, abusing the fact that the army is definitely divided right now for the STC. And man, it's like the battle of acronyms here, QXC, STC. But more tanks being rallied forward for the STC, and I feel like if QXC can get his Marine count up high enough, he should be able to punch through this. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get caught on siege just like the STC did. And the STC is trying to put a little bit of a chokehold on him. We can see here, this tank line setup is pretty big. There's so many units here on the field. QXC's biggest issue here, even though he has the tank count lead, is he just needs to make sure they're in the right place, like chess pieces. Covering these, oh god, how did I do that? You delete that. But, goodness, I didn't actually mean to draw that. I actually don't know how to erase that at all, so that's probably just going to be there for a little bit because I'm an idiot. But QXC is trying to move over towards the center of the map, and really he just needs to hold this off for now. I actually don't quite know. Hotkeys, drawing, erase. How do you erase? Oh, Shift Q. Okay, thank God. And he is going to be moving in now, coming over. The tanks are sieging. The Marines are spreading. Is QXC going to be able to do enough to take out this force? He has a big tank count lead, but the arc for the STC is so big. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take this fight. QXC dropping in supply very quickly. STC is going to be barely on top here. There's a good amount of tanks left behind for QXC, but this factory is moving over, and looks like the STC is going to be able to kill off QXC's 4th command center. He does have his own 4th command center pretty well established, but goodness gracious, this is a rough spot to be in. Indeed, QXC losing just too much there. I'm not so sure. He can't get this 4th base set up. He's going to be in a world of hurt. Both players now about to hit that 3-3 upgrade phase. Yeah, they both do have the 3-3, the +1 vehicle weapons, both about to get +2, and that's going to really allow these tanks to kill each other much more efficiently. But this is just a really, really rough spot for QXC. He's been contained all game long. He hasn't been able to get a 4th base. Now that the 4th base, the planetary fortress, is landed for STC, those mules mining those resources going to get tons and loads of money here. As QXC is trying to push out, but there's a Marine to spot him. If QXC can get a good fight, which is what he needs to force a really good fight, he can win this, but I feel like a base trade would almost be ideal now for the STC because he can just rally forces home. But no, he's gonna come back, try to defend against this. And the problem is there's no base up here for QXC to actually kill. So, but a really, really good engagement here. He's gonna be able to catch a lot of these tanks off guard. The arc for QXC is good. Is he gonna be able to do enough damage though, is the question. He has taking out quite a bit of the army supply. He's even the supplies up, but QXC still needs to take into account the fact that there is an extra base for the STC. He needs to find a way to force something. He's going to just drop a Marine right on top of this tank saying, okay, I've killed it. Trade the medevac and the Marine for the tank. Worth it.
Talk to me.
And this is such a rough spot. QXC's long distance mining where he wanted his 4th to be. And it looks like the STC might go for a counterattack, splitting a couple units off and running into the QXC's natural. But QXC has a good number of units left here anyway. He shouldn't be caught off guard by a split push at all. In fact, QXC is the one that looks like he's going to be going for the split push here. And here he is. He has sieged up. Is QXC going to be able to hold this attack off? He just needs to back up. He needs to allow his tanks to unleash the pain on these Marines. And QXC coming in with a flank. He's going to gobble this army up like it's Thanksgiving dinner. The tanks falling for STC. And QXC, this is his opportunity. He needs to kill this 4th base now. STC is moving his forces up at X. QXC just now restarting this 4th command center. He needs to stop this base from continuing to mine. QXC has to do something. A lot of his Marines are very, very weak, though. He needs to be careful at the same time. Forcing out another stand from QXC's Marines. There are 2 tanks here for the STC. This is not enough to stop this army. QXC could theoretically push in here. He just needs to make sure that if he goes for this high ground, this low ground position, that the high ground doesn't become a threat to him via STC going for a big attack. But QXC is doing everything in his power to stay in this game. He wants to win this map for America, for the North American team in our RSL gNations. Just don't lose all your medevacs, kid, because if you do, tanks are going to be ready to shell away from the high ground. That planetary fortress is going to fall, and QXC denying the 4th base, which was exactly what he needed to do in this position. But it looks like STC might be trying to catch QXC as he unsieges and heads home. He is scanning. He sees the army positioning. QXC has tanks at home. QXC has Marines at home, and he realizes the best way for him to continue to play this game, he cannot allow his tanks to get caught off guard. He has such an expensive arrangement of forces here. I feel like he should give a medevac here to spot. Oh, goodness gracious. STC could hit from the high ground here and do a lot of damage to QXC. He needs to scan or move one of these medevacs back. This is going to be so dangerous. At the same time, QXC does have his own 4th base set up, so he finally has the economy that he wants. He's ahead in supply. But STC, he gets into a nice high ground spot. And QXC, no, he's going to take a lot of pain from the high ground. Really loading on these Marines, though. At the same time, the Marines getting into the 3rd base of STC. QXC is doing as much as he can, but STC will be able to stop this army. He's going to clean all of this up. QXC already has another large force prepared, though. He is still very ahead in supply. He's killed off a lot of SCVs. There's no 4th command center anymore. STC is actually just going to load his command center over. He's going to fly it on up be like, you know what, screw this. I'm not dealing with this anymore. So QXC, all he really needs to do right now is keep his 4th base. He has a much bigger army than the STC did when QXC killed STC's 4th. So just siege your tanks up in a good spot, spread your bio, and go, go, go. The Marines are coming in. He's starting to split. The tanks are in the front. Manor Mules dropped by QXC saying, get out of my game, you Korean scrub. I mean, of course, we're on the same team, so he doesn't mean it seriously. But GG from the STC, and QXC takes game.